Yo, yo, it's your boy Steve-O representing the hustle culture. And I wanted to come in and tell y'all a little bit about how DJ Screw impacted my life. So, it was probably about 1992 when I was first introduced to Screw. Not Screw the actual person, but to the DJ Screw product. At that time, I want to say I was in middle school. And in that time, we were listening to 8Ball and MJG coming out hard. So, my older cousin, he'll be in and out the crib, popping up, he was on this side or whatever, and he's doing his thing. This is how I was introduced to Screw music. And so the first time I ever heard Screw, the very first song, it might have been Prince. Yeah. So, when I first heard it, I'm listening to it, and I'm like, man, something don't sound right. Why it's slow like that? It sounded like somebody was pushing in on the tape cassette. And so I told my cousin, I was like, hey, your battery's going dead or something? And he started laughing. He was like, ain't no batteries going dead, damn fool. That's DJ Screw. And I was like, Screw? What's that? And so he proceeded to remove the cassette tape from the boombox. And so I'm looking at the tape, I'm inspecting it, I'm looking at it, I said, okay, 120 minutes on each side. It was the Maxell Gray tape. Top of the line back in the day, should I say. And I'm looking at it, it got a label on it, and it had his writing on it. And so he was like, that's the title right there. I can't remember what the name of that screw was, that exact screw, but I fell in love with the art immediately because it didn't take much for me to gravitate to it. You know, the fact that I could hear every word of every song that was featured on these particular tapes. Now I could understand and got a better understanding of the music as a whole. And so you hear his actual mix and his scratch and chop game and how he transitions into every song. It was like another world. So from this point forward, that's all I wanted to listen to. Now I'm jamming Screw. And of course, I wanted to follow in my big cousin's footsteps and want to listen to the same stuff he was listening to. And so, I just messed around and he'll bring a tape for me to hear. And this is how I really, truly grew to love music as a whole, was through Screw music. It introduced me to different sounds, different cultures in hip hop, artists from all over the country. He did a lot of West Coast, a lot of West Coast music, LA, Bay Area, Oakland, San Francisco. And he didn't discriminate when it came to good music. He always would put his touch on it. By this time I want to say it might have been 93. Check that. It might have been 95. Fast forward to 95, and I heard no. As a matter of fact, it was 1994, song Corn. And I heard Scarface. I seen a man die. And it changed my life. Because you can hear every detail in this record. You can hear the amazing bass line, the melody, the quality of the vocal. And it was at this time that Scarface was become a household name and was transitioning into his legendary status. So, boom, now my only mission at this age is to make sure I kept me a fresh screw tape. So now, fast forward, I'm in high school. And one thing for sure, two things for certain. I had to keep me a fresh screw tape. Boys was going around humming the bass line to these screw tapes. And you knew what they was humming off the top because it was the bass line off the screw tape and it was slower than the original song. And then you wouldn't just say the lines or the bars the way that they were originally expressed. You would automatically imitate the chop on the screw tape. It was really something else, man. Now that I look back on how impactful this was, that sound that was being created at this time, it shaped the state of Texas as a whole. So now we're talking 94, 95. He's mixing in these freestyles now. And so now Screw is introducing us to legends in the making. Guys that we know as being guys that shape the culture of the city. We talking about the likes of Lil Keke, Pat Pat, Big Okie, Big Hawk, ESG, Mike D, 3-2, the Botany Boys. We talking about guys that shaped our culture undoubtedly. It's crazy because I was so young and it was so hard to get your hands on a screw tape, especially an original screw. But a lot of people was getting their hands on dubs. I know a lot of y'all might not know what a dub is. When you had a tape, you had a boom box, and you had a blank tape, and you had two sides that you played tapes on. And one of those sides, you had a record button on. And so while you would play a tape on one side, you could put a blank tape on the other side and press record, and you made a dub. At this time, now that I look back on it, I'm like, man, that was tough, man. I see what music is today, and I was able to experience the end of the 8-track, a lot of vinyl, and cassette tapes, CDs, and now everything being digital, man, it's crazy. And so, not to mention too, that his sound was so effortless, and it was on vinyl, man. It was almost like analog. It was so organic. Like, it was hard to imitate. But anyways, if you got your hands on a dub, if you lucky enough to get your hand on a dub, you was able to kind of stay in tune with what was going on, what the music trend was. So, my cousin, he would be coming in and out, moving so fast, he would accidentally forget his screw, right? And so by the time he's thinking about it, he'll already be long gone. So he'll call me and he'll be like, "Hey, did I leave my screw over there?" And I'm like, "What screw?" And he'll tell me the name of it. And I'll be like, "Nope, nah, I don't even see it." I laugh. So, this is how I began to start building my own screw collection. And so, at the age of 13 and 14, so, side note, if one of these tapes were so happened to pop, right, and somebody would throw their tape away, especially like my cousin, I'd go in the trash and go get it. I open it up and do surgery. I go give me some scotch tape. I find where it popped at, reconnect it, wrap that scotch tape around, put the reels back into the cassette, put the tape back into the cassette deck, check it out, see if it worked, and it was like brand new. Now, when it would get to the part when I had to do the surgery, it would kind of give like a weird warp noise, but it didn't sound out of bounds, right? 'Cause, we was already jamming screw, so it just kind of hit right in, So now he's starting to interpolate these freestyles into these tapes. And these guys are taking over the underground. The SUC, Screw Up Quick. Now, it was a must. If you rap, you had to get to school. And it wasn't easy. You had to know somebody that knew somebody. And school would be booked up. So, if you didn't know somebody that knew somebody, chances were slim. And so now, you hearing the likes of Kiki, who was taking over the underground scene in Houston. Him and Fat Pat, Big Poke, and Big Hawk, right? Now these guys are starting to branch off, and they're starting to do solo albums and solo projects with other guys, with labels. And man, it was growing at such a crazy pace. If you was from Houston, especially from the South, like you had to jam Screw. Even some guys on the North Side was jamming Screw. I once talked to a prominent DJ from the North Side, one of the coldest DJs I know I ever heard. And he told me himself that he patented his his DJ style after school. And when he told me that, I couldn't do nothing but appreciate his honesty, because it still builds to the legacy of DJ Screw. So you got the likes of Lil O coming into the picture. Lil O was known for dropping quality projects in the 90s. Like, he always had a well-rounded project. He was giving you the lights, introducing you to the likes of Zero. Early Zero was like, look at what you done to me, or look at what you did to me. Zero began to become one of the most prominent artists in Southern rap. Still very underrated, but when Screw introduced us to him, he had the song, and he was saying, they tell me all that liquor ain't good for me, but it drowns out my visions of a casket. That shit was hard, man. And then, that early Zero was probably still kind of getting slept on a little bit. But when Gorilla Mob, when he dropped the Gorilla Mob collaboration with WD, Tread True, there wasn't nowhere you couldn't go in the city and not hear it. And this is when Gorilla Mob had that keep watching me, and you fellas gon' see that you don't wanna fuck around with these G's. Bright-eyed, sipping, drank, blowing tree. That shit was playing everywhere. And so we listened to so much Screw at the time that when we would hear the original songs at the original tempo, it didn't even sound right. We would rather listen to it. It sounded too bad. Some people say it's because we're so slow. But so with that being said, that goes to show how integral that Screw was globally, not just in Southern Europe. Introducing us to other sounds. We fell in love with like E40, Too Short, SIBO, guys like we fell in love with songs from E40, Too Short, SIBO, which I probably would have never heard of these guys if it wasn't for Screw. You heard of Too Short, so be it, and E40 too, but probably wouldn't have knew about SIBO. Screw also used to feature a lot of SPC, South Park Coalition artists. K Reno, Point Blank, Gangsta Lip, Klondike Cat, really, I mean, we knew what we had, but like just knowing what it became and being able to experience that era the way we did is just crazy. You know, I really appreciate regionalized music, and at that time, that's what it was. You know, West Coast was West Coast, East Coast was East Coast, Southern rap was, you know, Southern rap. Then you had the Midwest, they had its own sound. You know, Louisiana, Florida, Georgia, all had their own sound. Screw helped us to be able to find these particular artists, you know. The first time I heard the Hot Boys was on the Screw tape. I want to say, I think it was Neighborhood Superstars. Wayne might have been 13 at the time. But, you know, this is just how vital he was to the music scene and the boy that left when he left. You know, we still had people putting out artists, you know. Swishahouse had a great run. You know, Rap-A-Lot was already huge. Swab House was huge. And then you had other guys that was making noise throughout the scene. But you know, Screw didn't discriminate. If it was good music, it was good music. And so, you know, before he died, I finally got a chance to meet him in person. I went to the Big Mo video shoot with my partner. His brother was, you know, part of Screw up there. But he wasn't no rapper. And his brother was murdered while we was in the hospital. And so Screw, you know, he introduced himself to Screw, told him who he was. And so, you know, Screw, you know, dapped him up, you know, let him know, you know, how much he rocked with his brother, how tight they were. And so this is how I was able to, you know, finally shake this man's hand, man. Not too long after that, he passed away. And so when he passed away, it was demoralizing because, you know, if you were an aspiring artist, especially rap artist, you wanted to get on the Screw. Period, point blank. You know, that dream died with Screw. Yeah, so you know, that dream that was a boy because, you know, that was your way of being able to be, basically, that was your billboard. You know, that's how impactful that was to be on the school team. And it was a part of the culture. You know, back then, a lot of dudes used to, you know, want to be rappers, used to get laughed at a lot. It wasn't cool to rap back then. These niggas made it cool. It was not cool. You know, if you couldn't see the artistry of DJ Screw, then I don't know how you feel. Rapping is an art, singing is an art, shooting videos is an art, painting is an art, DJing is an art. And you have to be appreciative of the art. You love the art, you create the art, and then the money will come. And so, okay, so on certain songs, sometimes Screw would just let it play. He wouldn't do no scratching, no chopping. You know, the only thing he might do, he might bring something back. But sometimes he just let the music play because he had such an appreciation. He one time he did an R. Kelly song. He just let it play. He didn't chop it until the very end of the song. The song was going off. The song was going off. He didn't chop it. None of the verses, nothing. And, you know, there was other guys in the city that were amazing DJ at the same time as Screw. You know, I'm not going to mention these guys in this particular video, but I mean, it was a few of them, man. I know about 5 offhand they was hard, just like Screw. But Screw was Screw. And Screw shit, I mean, it was different. You know, this is how DJ Screw impacted my